The first time Catherine Lane, CEO of one of the most prestigious tech firms in New York, saw her janitor sitting on the floor of her company lobby surrounded by buckets, she almost fired him. To her, the sight looked careless, unprofessional, and potentially dangerous. But then she noticed her 7-year-old twins, Emma and Ethana, both deaf since birth, are sitting right beside him, laughing in a way she had not seen in years. Their small hands tapped rhythmically against the buckets as the janitor, a man she had barely acknowledged in 3 years of employing him, created music from nothing but plastic and sticks. For the first time in weeks, her children looked alive. Catherine froze in the doorway, her expensive heels clicking against the polished marble. Her children's world had always been a quiet one, filled with sign language, vibrations, and muted sound. Doctors had told her they'd never fully experience music, never feel the rhythm the way other children could. Yet here they were, swaying to the deep, earthy beats bouncing off the walls. She wanted to call out, but something inside her told her not to interrupt. The janitor, Miguel Alvarez, noticed her watching. He paused for only a moment, his dark eyes meeting hers, then gave her a respectful nod and continued. His hands moved with a practiced rhythm, coaxing sound out of the plastic like an artist who'd trained his whole life. The twins followed his lead, hitting their small buckets in sync. Emma's laughter spilled over into silent claps, while Ethan closed his eyes and pressed his palms against the sides, feeling the vibrations resonate through his tiny frame. Catherine's throat tightened. She had spent money on therapists, special schools, advanced devices. Yet this janitor had accomplished in 10 minutes what professionals had failed to do. He had made her children feel included in the world of music. She did not interrupt until the song ended, when the twins erupted in exaggerated applause, signing excitedly to each other and to Miguel. "What was that?" Catherine asked quietly, trying to keep her composure. Miguel stood up, humble but confident. "Music they can feel," he said in a gentle voice. "Buckets don't care who you are or what you hear. They only care about rhythm." Catherine blinked, stunned by the simplicity of his answer. Her instinct as a CEO had always been to measure value in numbers, efficiency, results. But here stood a man making value out of nothing but heart and creativity. She wanted to dismiss it as coincidence, yet deep down, she knew it wasn't. Something had just shifted. Later that evening, when the building emptied, Catherine sought him out. She found Miguel in the staff kitchen, rinsing mops and quietly humming under his breath. The twins had insisted on waiting with her, signing impatiently for him to come back. "You play music?" she asked, stepping inside. Miguel looked up, embarrassed. "Used to, before life a broken bar got complicated." The words carried a weight she didn't press. "Instead," she said, "my children a broken bar, they don't laugh like that often." "What you did, Ita?" Her voice cracked, surprising even herself. It meant something. Miguel dried his hands and shrugged. "Sometimes the world doesn't give kids like yours the same stage. I just try to make one where they can play." It should have ended there, a kind gesture, a passing moment. But the twins refused to let it. For days after, they begged their mother to let them play buckets with Miguel. At first, Catherine resisted. ICEO could not be seen relying on a janitor for her children's joy. Yet one evening, exhausted from their pleading, she relented. What began as a simple bucket session turned into something bigger. Miguel brought in makeshift instruments, pots, pans, wooden spoons. He taught the twins to feel rhythm through their bodies, stomping their feet, pressing palms against walls to catch vibrations. He signed basic beats, learning from them as much as they learned from him. Slowly, the three developed a language all their own, one not bound by sound or silence but by shared rhythm. Catherine watched, torn between awe and confusion. Why would a man waste his time on this when he had floors to clean and bills to pay? One night, curiosity overcame her. She stayed behind after the kids had gone to bed and asked, "Why do you do this?" Miguel hesitated, then confessed, "My daughter a broken bar, she was like them. Deaf. Music was how we spoke. Buckets walls, even the hum of the washing machine. She died when she was 10. Cancer. I lost her, but I never stopped hearing her rhythms. When I saw your twins, yeah, broken bar, I couldn't help it. The words hit Catherine like a storm. She had spent years hiding her own vulnerabilities, pretending she had everything under control. Yet this man, a janitor, had opened his heart without hesitation. She wanted to offer comfort, but all she managed was, "I'm sorry." Miguel nodded. "Don't be." She gave me more music in 10 years than most people get in a lifetime. Now, maybe I can pass that to others. Catherine went home that night unable to sleep. For years, she had been defined by her role, a powerful woman, a widow, a mother of deaf twins. But now she saw herself differently. She was a gatekeeper to opportunities, to stages, to voices like Miguel's that would otherwise go unheard. Weeks turned into months. Miguel became more than just a janitor to the twins. He became their teacher, their friend, their doorway into a world where silence didn't mean isolation. They started performing small rhythms together at home, then at school. Teachers marveled at how engaged they were. Other parents asked questions. Soon, Catherine realized this wasn't just about her children. This was about every child who had been told they couldn't experience music. The turning point came during the company's annual gala, a night where investors, partners, and media gathered. Catherine had planned the usual: speeches, fine dining, entertainment. But halfway through the evening, she made a bold, unplanned decision. She walked on stage, heart pounding, and announced, "Tonight, we're going to share something different." A performance that reminds us success is not about titles or money, but about humanity. Then she called Miguel and her twins onto the stage. Gasps rippled through the room. A janitor? Children? This was not what the elite expected. But when Miguel started drumming, and Emma and Ethan joined in with their tiny buckets, the room changed. Guests leaned forward, drawn into the raw energy. The rhythm built, pulsing through the floor, into their chests. Even those who could not sign understood the joy radiating from the children's faces. When the performance ended, the silence that followed was thick with emotion, then erupted into a standing ovation. Catherine's eyes welled as she signed to her children. "You did it." They beamed back at her. And Miguel, humble as ever, bowed his head, whispering to himself, "For you, Mija." The aftermath was extraordinary. News outlets covered the performance. Advocacy groups reached out. Catherine's company launched a program integrating rhythm-based therapy for deaf children, funded entirely from her personal fortune. Miguel was promoted not just in title, but in purpose. He became the program's director, teaching children across the city that music was not bound by ears but by hearts. And in the quiet moments, Catherine found herself changed too. For years, she had thought leadership was about vision and power. But now she knew true leadership was listening to those overlooked, undervalued, unseen. Months later, in the same kitchen where it all began, Catherine found Miguel sitting quietly, eyes closed, tapping a simple beat on the table. She asked, "Do you ever wish things had been different? That your daughter a broken bar?" Miguel smiled softly. "Every day. But then I see Emma and Ethan laugh, and I think a broken bar, maybe she sent me here. Maybe her rhythm lives on through them." Catherine swallowed hard. "You've given them a gift I never could." He shook his head. "No, Miss Lane. You gave them the gift. You listened." That night, when Catherine tucked her twins into bed, Emma signed, "Mom, can we play buckets forever?" Catherine kissed her forehead and whispered, "Yes, forever." And for the first time in years, Catherine Lane, CEO, mother, widow, felt like she had finally learned what success truly meant. Because in the end, it wasn't the money, the power, or the title. It was the soundless laughter of her twins, the rhythm of a janitor's heart, and the music that lived where silence once reigned.